Like this is fantastic. And then I started
Oh.
reading. I started reading like Aristotle, Buddhism, fucking
These things she pulled
McIntyre.
from.
Like I started reading all of these philosophers, and I was like, oh my
Wait,
god. Oh my god, Atlas Shrugged is awful. I can't
yeah,
believe I was that little dirtbag.
I know,
You
right?
know,
But
you
no, it
know,
is. It's what it is. It speaks to the 13-year-old boy in every man.
I read Atlas Shrugged and I was like, eh.
That's what I did. That's what I did too. No, so there's also on the Emma Goldman tip, like she was also a contemporary of Nietzsche, and she was a friend of his, and really liked his philosophy. I'm not a huge fan of Nietzsche, but like the way she talked about him was like, if you read her critiques on him, it's actually better than Nietzsche, I think.
Honestly,
I
every time I
I'm
think
a
in Nietzsche, I think of The Big Lebowski
I think of nachos.
or Nachos.
Pretty nachos.
But
I don't know what Alex
Nihilus.
thinks of Nietzsche. He's a fucking philosopher.
All right, let's
I
hear this.
I really like Nietzsche, and I think it's because a lot of people don't understand what he was
Yeah,
doing.
exactly.
Was
That's my
very
problem with him.
sarcastic. Like he's very indirect, right?
Yeah.
So if you read him directly and like on face value, you're gonna get all of the wrong
Oh, yeah.
like
But
ideas.
that's what Emma said about him, is basically like
He's too
he
obtuse.
no, she liked it. She was like she loved his sense of humor because it was so dry.
Just to clarify, this is a
Sorry.
what is this? This is a hearing, a sound medium, and Alex is apparently doing a vision trick right now, where he's trying to hide behind a blurry line that keeps breaking as he leans forward.
What are you talking about?
Well, we have to
We're
describe it for the people who are listening and not watching.
Yeah,
we're
so
live on Twitch. And if you are listening right now and you can't see the visual trick, well, then maybe you should start watching on Twitch.
open your third fucking eye and then go to
Yes.
Twitch and,
Yes.
and follow
Open
Crook
your third
Irish.
eye. Work on your
So guys, welcome to another episode of Crook and Murder. My name is Kenny Crook Irish Kirby. You may know me as the guy who recently opened his third eye at a Montana prison. I'm just not going to go past that point. I am joined today by my co-host Maxwell Murder.
Sure, I'm Maxwell Murder, and I'm thinking about making my own third eye with this here hatchet, like right about here. What do you think?
I think that's suicide. I am also joined today
Whoops.
by special guest Alex.
I have always had the third eye, and I have always had your third eye. I am special guest Alex.
That might have been the best intro you've done.
That's actually pretty good. I'm
was
not gonna lie.
amazing.
Today we're going to be talking about scrying. Maxwell Murder. What is scrying?
All right, if you ask him what scrying is, and you're not a Magic the Gathering player, we're going to talk about the scrying that doesn't have to do with cardboard. So let's get into it. If you possess the power of scrying, you probably already know how this episode ends. You should, for sure. For everyone else, though, we're going to break down the process of scrying, the mystical art of telling the past, present, and future through objects.
You know, I don't know where I saw the episode, but they had this episode on scrying, and I'm like, the fuck is scrying? So
Wait, who had an episode of scrying?
I can't remember. It was
fuck.
this TV show, and there was like an entire episode on scrying, and it was a horror. It might have been Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, they did one.
Or not, or a Creep Show on
I haven't
Shudder.
seen Creepshow. I feel like Tales from the Crypt did an episode on scrying. Used to watch that.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Tales of the Crypt is basically The Simpsons, and that they've covered like almost every trope, you know.
It's true.
And I want to buy Tales from the Crypt, but Tales from the Crypt won't release a fucking Blu-ray cut that's in widescreen.
I used to have them all on disc. I don't know where that went though.
So
I don't know why you're upset, Kirby. I watch things all the time in standard definition. That's how I had to watch all the Star Treks for a long time.
this
That's
is the
true.
same. Look, I invited Alex into our Voodoo account, and the very next day, a whole bunch of old movies showed up there, like Platoon and
Oh, that was you,
Apocalypse Now.
Alex? I thought that was the other Kirby with all the war movies and shit.
No, that was me. All of the Star Treks, that's me. Bought every single Star Trek movie.
I've heard you.
And now I got to talk to Pete, but I want to start getting like Casablanca. What's the sled movie there? Orson Welles.
Orson Welles, yeah. What's
God
it
damn
called?
it! Why are we
Rosebud?
like?
No.
This is long COVID fog brain.
Yeah, it
Fuck.
is.
I
What is the name of that movie?
Oh God,
It's the guy's name.
Yeah,
know. Oh, God.
Rosebud. No, Rosebud's the twist at the end.
No, Rosebud's the sled. What? Okay, this is gonna.
God damn it!
Orson
People, this great
Welles.
podcasting episode right here.
I know. We're fucking great at this, man.
What is the Rosebud
Citizen
twist?
Kane.
Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane. So I want to start getting things like that. Casablanca, Citizen Kane, like old like 40s, 50s movies.
We've already got Doctor Strangelove, which is my absolute favorite movie.
I
bought
honestly
that one too.
thought
That
you
is
were.
also I was just gonna say that's also my all-time like top 5 favorite movies.
Absolutely.
I honestly thought you were gonna say it's Doctor Strange.
All right.
And I was like,
So
that's like 10 years old.
one
Classic.
one real quick tangent and then we got to get back to scrying, but one of the greatest things, because Dr. Strangelove is Kubrick.
Yep.
And the main actor there,
Oh, you mean Slim something?
the guy that plays like 6 characters in the movie, I can't remember his name right now,
I was talking about the
But
pilot.
but he was a really famous actor back then, and he
Yeah.
didn't originally want to do the movie. And essentially, he thought it was going to be a very serious movie. And Kubrick was like, yeah, no. It's a very serious movie, like very serious plot, drama, everything. And he would make him do multiple takes. And every time would be like, just do one that's like silly. Just kind of get it out of your
It was
system.
Peter
Like,
Sellers.
Peter Sellers. He's
Yeah.
like, just kind of get it out of your system. Just be silly for a second, get it out of your system. And then he was like, and then used all of those clips for the
Yep.
maybe. And
I love
apparently
that.
Peter Sellers was pissed when he actually saw the final cut of the movie. Just fucking pissed.
Kubrick was a visionary. I was thinking of Slim Pickens, who played Major King Kong. He was the guy who rode the bomb down.
Yeah. Not sure what that has about scrying. Well,
Nothing.
no. Dr. Strangelove. Can we use movies as objects to peer into the future? Mind blown.
Oh man, Dr. Strangelove was based on a real person. Anyways, what is scrying? Let's talk about it. Scrying, also known as seeing or peeping, I love that when I read it. Peeping is the action of deciphering significant messages or visions. This is accomplished by looking into various suitable mediums, like a crystal ball, a mirror, a lake, etc. I've seen a bowl of water used. The object could be personal. The objective could be personal guidance, prophecy, revelation, or inspiration. It could also be used to reveal the past, present, or future, like asking a mirror to show you your future husband. I know who mine is. I'll tell you about it later. Some believe the visions arise from our subconscious mind after staring into a medium for too long. Basically, wishful thinking.
So I would like to add, if anybody thinks that visions coming from your subconscious is considered wishful thinking, then you are weak and you are closed-minded.
That's the comment I was just going to say. Weak, closed-minded people. Fools, if you will. However, others assert this is not the case. They believe the visions also came from an outside source.
Also fools.
Also fools.
Because we all know that the subconscious is connected to the universe.
We're
And
gonna find that out in a later episode.
Actually, yeah, we're gonna talk about the astral plane
Yeah,
coming up here in like a week or two.
yeah,
it's
we
called
are.
foreshadowing, guys. I did it on
Oh,
purpose.
did I
I
just
see.
destroy the foreshadowing by hammering it into the ground?
Yeah, because I totally did it on purpose, 100%.
Listen. This is how movies do it nowadays. Okay, they just give away the entire plot during the fucking trailer, and then
That's true.
That is true.
expect you to go see it.
Because
Yeah.
they think audiences are fucking idiots, but they're
Well, they're not wrong there.
They're not wrong.
that. Well, no. I think
we
I can't
keep
argue with it.
playing
Just
for Marvel
continue.
movies.
Yeah. Okay, it's just like the army. It's the lowest common denominator. Anyways, whether that be gods, devils, spirits, or the psychic mind.
Or the
There-
subconscious mind, but continue.
Yes. There is no uniformity concerning the process of scrying. It is not clearly defined, and there is no formal discipline in the art. Losers. It has been repeatedly and independently reinvented by various organizations through the ages.
This was kind of annoying because when I started like researching scrying, I was like, okay, what's the art of scrying? And it's like crystal balls. I'm like, sweet, and mirrors, and stones,
water.
and I'm like, who the fuck? There's none. There's no structured way to correctly scry.
Anything that's reflective, it seems like, or
Which
whatever.
makes sense though, right? Because at some level you're just using objects to reinforce. Right, the reflective thing makes sense, right? Because ultimately what you're doing is an act of reflection,
Yeah,
right?
Oh, yeah.
You're reflecting
you're looking into
reflecting on
yourself to figure
yeah.
out something.
yeah.
I mean, it's why Bloody Mary works, right? You turn off the fucking lights and you walk into a bathroom and you're looking into the darkness, into the mirror, and you're willing yourself to see something, and eventually you see Bloody Mary.
Okay, I'm glad that you said that out loud because when I was reading the outline, I was like, what does scrying have to do with Bloody
I
Mary?
actually commented back on yours. I just said the mirror.
The what?
The
Oh,
mirror.
that would have helped if I had read it.
All right. Just a little annotation.
Just want everybody out there to know we are three fantastic professionals.
Yeah,
We take this very seriously, and we totally have a complete structure and preparation time for all of these episodes.
We've only
the
been doing this
ball.
for 25 episodes. Yeah, that's
I know. We are professional podcasters. At least I am, because I don't have another job.
this is true. And I give myself $1 after each podcast so I can pretend I'm monetized.
Wait, what the fuck, man? Where's our dollar?
I give myself $3.
I give myself a handy
Crook
in the
Irish
back
has left the chat.
in the back of a TA.
Back there. That was a great episode, that one. God, this is going to open my third eye tonight.
I mean, is it weird that I do watch the feed over again so I can see you guys while I rub one out?
No, that's not weird. Yeah,
Okay.
I completely get it.
That's he sets up a monitor in the corner as if we're watching, but it's like behind him, right? So he's like watching porn, just rubbing one out, and then there's like a monitor in the back, and just once in a while goes,
You guys watching this?
yeah.
I mean, technically, Max sexted me last night because I was sitting there.
I didn't sext you. That wasn't a sext.
I was sitting there watching fucking.
my
I was
God.
playing Diablo. I was playing the new season, right? And I get this text from Max, and it's like, "Yeah,
It
I don't
said,
know what."
What time does Regina go to bed?
And I'm like, I don't fucking know who the fuck is Regina. So I'm just like, I don't know. And then he goes and falls asleep, and I'm just playing Diablo. And he sends me another text as if he's still goddamn talking to this fucking girl. And then another one, and another one. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, I'm just trying to play fucking Diablo, Max.
What did I say? I was like, hey, I really have been enjoying chatting with you. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, and it was at least like 3 texts I sent that I thought I was sending to someone else. And
I'm like, look, we got great compadre. I agree with that, but
Hey,
like,
hey
it's a
man,
little weird.
it happens to the best of us.
I know. This is why I can't.
Just be lucky that you didn't send a dick pic. Now that
Well,
would have been awkward.
I only do it if I'm asked, so I wouldn't have done it.
I was waiting
Good.
for it.
All right.
But
Well,
Yeah.
that says more about you than him sexting you.
it's true.
Also, if you were waiting for his dick pic, why the fuck are you complaining about him sexting you? Like, what?
Listen,
You
okay,
were-
take me out to
He
dinner
wants
first.
to get straight for the money shot.
Yeah, look, just cut through the bullshit. I'm Montana.
All right. How old is Scrying?
We'll talk about scrying through the ages. Actually, I just had an idea. I'll wait until the next little break. Okay, I'll tell you. Scrying is thousands of years old. It has roots back into the ancient cultures of Egypt, India, Greece, and even Babylonia. It is also mentioned in some of the oldest books, such as the Bible and the Shahnameh. I meant to figure this one out. Shahnameh. What is that?
I just want you to know that the Bible's actually really not that old.
Well, the Old Testament is, but
Well, I guess that's true. I guess
Torah's been around for 10,000 years.
yeah.
That's why it's called the Old Testament.
I apologize. I was thinking of the Rick James Bible that
The
came
Rick
out.
James Bible, yeah.
That came out in about what, 1960s. So I
Yeah.
apologize.
Peter, 5'6". Fuck your couch.
Yeah. I love the Rick James Bible. It's what I read when I go to bed, and I pray to Rick James every night. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
You guys remember? This is really off topic. Do you remember that weird commercial that like Ford or whatever did like 20 years ago with Rick James playing like he made a deal with the devil for a fast car?
I don't know, but that's a great commercial.
Oh, dude, there was
Sounds
like
amazing.
a series of like 3 of them. It was like a 3-part
Whoa.
story done in commercial form.
We might have to do a whole episode on that.
Did he get the car?
Yeah,
Yeah,
made a
he
deal with
did.
the devil.
He made the deal with the devil and he became immortal.
Yeah, kind of like I always forget his name. The blues guy who became the best guitarist ever because he made a deal with the devil.
Oh, I actually looked into that. Okay, you know what? I think we're going way too off topic, but we will do an episode on him.
Oh,
I like
perfect.
it. I like him.
All right.
Actually, his story his like legitimate story is really interesting because he did disappear for a year and then reappeared with a 7-string guitar that he could play better than any old blues man in the South. It was bizarre.
Although
And
there was rumors that he just went and got taught from like one of the best blues players around.
Well, it's pretty much what happened. But that year is debatable, like what he did, because no one really knows. But yeah, he was mediocre and then took a year off. And then again, he appears with a 7-string guitar, which is, I think he sort of was the first guy to do it. Now blues is played on a 7-string guitar all the time.
This is also the 1920s. You could walk down to the grocery store
Yeah,
and hang out at the pub for a year, and people would be like, "What happened to Kenny?"
yeah, exactly.
Well, it's also interesting because that's just mythos in general, right? Like Jesus went away for however long. I don't think it was a year. I think Jesus
30 years.
like 7 years, right? Like from the age of like 20
I
to
don't
Yeah,
like
he
30.
went back to his planet because he's an alien, and when he came back, he was like, "Listen, guys, why don't we stop being dicks to each other?" And we were immediately dicks to the dude.
So I would love to alienate every single hardcore Christian that does not listen to this show. So if we could do an entire episode of Jesus being an alien, I am totally on board.
I think he's also a desert wizard. There's a lot of crossover there, but I don't really read Jewish fan fiction, so I don't know the New Testament. Just saying.
I'm pretty sure he had a lightsaber at one point.
That's fucking good. That's good. I'm
It's
not Jewish, but I'm stealing that from you.
You should. It's good. It's also you can also use it with the Book of Mormon.
Oh
Christian
my
fan
god,
fiction
dude.
based on Jewish fan fiction. It's like the Book of Mormon is like 50 Shades of Grey.
If
Oh,
the
man.
next season doesn't alienate like every Christian that listens to this, I don't know what will.
So
Really.
just to get back to Scrying real quick, is there anybody that denies that, there's outside sources that, evil outside sources?
Well, I guess
That-
we'll look into it. Okay, so occult philosopher Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa lived from 1485 to 1553. Flatly denied the use of devils or sorcery in scrying. He claimed the fantasy or imaginative power has ruling power over the passions of the soul when these are bound to sensual I got your names over apprehensions. There we go. That was a quote unquote. The fantasy or imaginative power has ruling power over the passions of the soul when these are bound to sensual apprehensions. Unquote. Basically, we have the power to create our own visions or create the visions.
Amazing. I love that quote, by the way.
I do too, actually.
I think that is an awesome, awesome quote.
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is, but I totally plan on like researching him a little bit more.
Well, I mean, to answer your first question, it's very clearly Henrik Cornelius Agrippa.
No, Jesus Christ.
But basically, what he's saying here is that the brain is far more powerful than we give it credit for.
Yes, and he's talking from like the 14th century or something. Like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he's
dude. Yeah, from the 15th to the 16th century. That's fucking nuts.
It's nuts. I will say that the word occult wasn't actually coined till 1842, but I think looking back, we can call him an occult philosopher because obviously he had some work in there.
I think it was postscribed to him. You know, it's like this guy's basically an occultist.
I mean, which is great. I wonder if he was burned at the stake because just that quote could get him fucking.
So
he get the pair of anguish for that.
I feel like this is not too off topic. You said occult didn't come into the vernacular until 1842.
I believe that's when it came into the vernacular. It's the etymology.
Did not realize that it's that recent of a word. Do you know like the actual do you know why it was coined during that time? Like how
there at the time that was sort of the beginning of the spiritualist movement, like the very beginning. And technically occult just means sort of other. Like the definition is different. So someone who is an occultist studies something that's out of the norm.
Would you say the spiritual movement had a heavy influence on H.P. Lovecraft and how he wrote his books?
Absolutely.
Sounds like it.
I think he said that, in fact. Like he didn't believe, he was a total non-believer and an anti-Semite. But I mean, it's well known now. He also married a Jewish woman, though, and complained about all the Jews in New York to her.
Listen, there are a lot of things wrong with H.P. Lovecraft. However, he does write a compelling tale.
I would say Lovecraft Country, one of the best seasons of television I've ever seen. I wish they would make another one, but they're not going to.
It is phenomenal. The fact that the way that they were able to critique cultural norms and Lovecraft himself at the same time paying homage to him is
amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, they walked that fine line between like
oh my god, dude, they
tearing apart the source material and paying love to it. It's like exactly Lovecraft Country is exactly how you should approach H.P. Lovecraft for his stories versus the man he was.
100%. The way that also the character development in just those like 10 episodes was amazing. The chick who goes to space and stuff, like that was phenomenal. Like, and I also love, and I'm going to say this on another podcast that we're doing in a couple of days, about a Starfleet captain. But I loved how militant the racial commentary was. It was like that wasn't even walking a fine line. That was in your face. Like this is what it was like.
And that other podcast is the Stone Gauntlet on
and that
Sunday, the
talking about
23rd.
is Captain Sisko.
You know, I like how you're doing your job.
No, we can't talk. We can't talk about Captain Sisko because you know that it'll get out of hand, bud.
I know. I'm just saying. I like that his blackness was of a militant style, even in Starfleet, in the Federation. He was unapologetically black.
Black.
You know,
Okay,
okay.
so real
That's
quick,
it.
I'm
No
sorry,
more.
Kirby. No, I gotta say one more thing though.
Okay, say it.
Is it's the Afrofuturism, right?
Yes,
It's this
absolutely.
idea of, and that one episode where they go back to like he's having the visions of the 50s of as
Yeah.
a sci-fi, right? Like fantastic. Everybody suggest watching Deep Space Nine. We get back to the podcast because
And
It was
we
the
will
proto-
be talking
I-
about that on Sunday.
Yeah, it was the proto Lovecraft Country, that episode. I'll say that.
yeah,
So we're gonna cut out Star Trek right here.
that's fine. That's fine.
All right, now we're talking about the Aztecs, guys. Okay, the Aztecs actually had an entire cult devoted to the art of scrying via the god. I know how to say this. Textilcopa, right? Yeah.
I was doing like Tezcatlipoca.
I've heard it said on TV, and now I know it. I can't say it now.
I've
don't-
never
I-
heard that word
I'd
said.
I'd say Tezcatlipoca.
Yeah.
I mean-
Okay.
Welcome to three white guys trying to pronounce a foreign word.
Well, I mean,
Hope you love the podcast.
it's also kind of a dead language. So, okay, Tezcalt. It is mere. Ipoca. It emits smoke. Ooh, I like that breakdown. Priests would use flat black obsidian mirrors to obtain their visions. Black was not the only color of Textilcopa, but also the color of strength. Textilcopa received his powers from the obsidian mirrors, which allowed him to know all things and see into the hearts of people. One of these mirrors ended up in the hands of Cortez, asshole, and was brought back to Europe, where it eventually fell into the hands of John Dee, notable astrologer and magician.
Don't mistake him for the man that invented the John Deere. Just saying.
Yeah, he did not invent the tractor
You just put an R on there, and he's John Deere.
or the tractor hat.
Or I have a John Deere hat somewhere. It was used for his divination. It was then used for his divination. As he traveled from court to court displaying his skills, John Dee would accidentally make mirrors a popular tool for scrying mystics and magicians.
You know,
I have actually heard of this guy, John Dee. He is kind of well known in this sort of like occultist field.
technically John Dee started the modern magician movement because like a lot of what magicians do is, watch the right hand while I do something with the left. Once the
I do a lot with the right hand.
This hand,
while the left hand.
I do it with my left hand. Honestly. I'm ambidextrous, so I can go either way.
I mean, technically, I could masturbate with my left hand. It just takes a little longer.
I think it's better.
it feels weird at times, but sometimes
Like
weird is
somebody
good.
else is doing
I
it.
can write with my left hand legibly too.
Sometimes I'll masturbate with my left hand and then shake hands with my left hand just to throw people off.
You.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you for that. We've been talking about jerking off a lot on this one. I think we've got some. I think Kirby's got like his coming out of his eyes.
Listen, I haven't jerked off in like 2 days.
Brought it up with the sex thing, and now it's just it's there.
Poor guys, it's gonna be dick jokes like 90% of the time. But
yeah, speaking of magic always turns into dick jokes. I mean,
yeah, it does. But
what? How? I've never had a dick joke from Magic the Gathering.
Are you being sarcastic, right?
No, I am not being sarcastic.
My Magic the Gathering sessions with my friends turned into just like nothing but dick jokes.
are you just one of those nerds that like sits at the Magic store and is like, I'm taking this way more serious than it actually is, Alex?
No, not me personally. Not me personally. I've met people like that, and by God, that we call them neckbeards, and they are.
Yeah, because they typically have a ponytail and a neckbeard.
Oh God, dude!
And they if they're sitting in those folding chairs, and then you can definitely see some plumber ass crack, like
plumber ass crack with their little anime schoolgirl backpack that's totally inappropriate.
You know, I'm glad that we're alienating the other half of our fucking listeners.
Well, if you don't want to get shit talked, be more conscious and know yourself better.
We're nerds too, but I will say that a couple of those guys did play some what's it called, Commander, with me and my friends, and they were really, really, really like they were like, Jesus, guys.
Yeah, and they always have a bag of Cheetos with them.
Oh, yeah. The really hot stuff, the
I
red ones.
think they come out of the womb with Cheetos, to be honest.
I'm out
Yeah.
of the loop with Cheetos.
And what, Code Red in their
Yeah,
hand.
the Mountain Dew Code
Oh
Red.
my god.
I can scry with Mountain Dew Code Red. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I can look into a bottle and I can tell you that I'm going to be up all night.
I wish I could.
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of modern scrying.
Well,
and
no,
Magic the Gathering-
okay, I actually have a point with John D. Is that he
Oh, sorry.
created the general use of mirrors in Magic.
He did.
Because as soon as like he ran around from court to court, showing off this black obsidian slate and being like, "Let me show you my magic powers," picking up chicks. People begin to go, "Oh, you can use smoke and mirrors to trick people."
Oh yeah. He was an interesting guy. Like he did like divination. He was really into alchemy, but he was also a mathematician and an astrologer and an astronomer. And back then, astrologer meant medical doctor.
Well,
But
the one thing that I love about, I mean, not to get political, but Marx did kind of bring this up, right? Was I love how interdisciplinary people were
yes,
like back in the day, right?
do,
Like
too.
that's a real thing, right? And,
Yeah.
and whatever it is, advent of science, economics, whatever you want to say the fault is or the cause of being more specialized, whatever, I don't care. But it is interesting to see that there were so many people 200, 300, 400, 500,000 years ago that were interdisciplinary. They were
Absolutely.
doing philosophy, science,
Yeah.
art, like
Newton's a great example too. Like he was also like seminary. He was like a divinity, like very religious type of guy, but he was also a physicist and a mathematician.
I
and
actually
it's
have
like,
a theory on that, and that's like, as we enter the technological age and get closer to what we deem science, we lose touch with our spiritual side. Like
I agree.
we're almost
I agree, but I think it had more. I come in from a Marxist standpoint, so I think it has
Yeah.
more to do with like the specialization of the labor market back in the Industrial Revolution.
That's
Is where I come from.
you know what?
but-
That's just too logical. Come on.
I mean, okay, hear me out for a sec, right?
I do agree with you, Kirby, right? But I think it's a later stage.
Not only are we now constantly surrounded by an almost damn near all the time, although we don't really pay attention to it because we've learned to tune it out. We've also managed to cover almost the entirety of the globe in fucking cameras. And then we go, why aren't aliens visiting us like they used to? Or
See him.
why can't we do magic like the old books say we can?
Right.
And the thing is because instead of like doing the shit that requires for magic, guys, magic is hard. I have read the Lesser Key of Solomon, and that shit requires preparation, years in fucking advance just to perform one goddamn spell.
Yeah. I mean, Solomon lived to like 300 or something, so like he spent a lot of time working on his magic.
Why would you do that when you can just look up Quora and figure out what the answer is right there?
I agree. I will say that okay, in the terms of like multi-discipline polymath type people, like back in the day you could go to Oxford and you can get all this stuff and become a learned Englishman, as they used to say. But I think like I consider myself a polymath, and that's not saying that I'm smarter than anybody. It's just that I didn't finish school. I taught myself everything I know. I read books, so like I do know a lot about like a lot of different like disciplines, and that's actually what makes me a good information security person. Is I know a lot about all systems, not just the systems that people work on. And I like physics. I like mathematics, but I also like the spiritual shit. I'm like obsessed with the occult, and I wonder if it's just I think maybe what Alex is saying makes sense. What Kirby is saying makes sense, but also I wonder if it's just the way that schools sort of like put you in a box. You know, especially colleges. Like you go in, you do your study on a specific subject. You go to say you get your master's degree in a technical subject like mechanical engineering. All you know is mechanical engineering.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm actually on the side of Ghostbusters Afterlife when it comes to school, any
Yes.
school,
Yes.
and that it's a state-funded institution for delinquents.
Yes.
Real learning comes from within and looking up shit on your own and asking goddamn questions. It does not come from going to some fucking state-funded school that requires you to be in this time to this time. All you learn is how to memory, and all you learn in fucking college is problem solving.
Yeah, I really think
Which
like
is fine. That's a needed
fine, no, if you
skill,
want to do it,
right?
it's
It's
great.
a
Yeah.
needed skill. But the problem is what both of you are saying, right? Is that it's too specialized at this point. And the reason that one of the reasons that it's too specialized is corporations, right? And
Of course,
internship
yeah.
and trying to funnel that next. But we're this is definitely echo.
I almost feel like all
Let me
three of
just say
us are
one.
arguing the same point.
We are. I just want to say
We
one
are.
thing.
We are.
We are arguing the same. I just want to say one last thing is, and it's that I, I learned I cannot anyone I try to teach to do what I do, except for Kirby. Kirby is an amazing student. No, you really are, because when I tell you to do something, you actually go and look it up. But when I'm working with people that are younger and they like ask about, say, like FreeBSD or Linux or like a odd operating system, I tell them, don't rely on Google. Go get some hardware and build it, and then put an operating system on it. Nobody has done that. Like nobody does that shit. They just. I learned all this shit before Google was around. I had to read books, guys, like
Yeah.
paper books. And I think that that's also something that's lost. Is like Google makes it. The internet makes things just too easy, and it's great for me. I use it all the time. I use it when I work. Like if you ask any,
Technology funnels us into a hive mind, whether we
yeah,
recognize it or not, because we
yeah,
all turn to Google for all the answers.
yeah.
But then
And
again, who the fuck is running Google?
well,
Well,
honestly,
Google.
the people that built Google are people like me, right?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. It's just I always say, do it yourself. Learn how to don't memorize commands. Learn what the commands do. Like learn the switches. I'm done with. That's my final word. But like, kids these days, man, fucking kids.
Fucking kids. I had a Reddit war with someone today, and it's the first and last time I'm going to go on to Reddit.
We're going to talk about at the end of the episode because it is a good one. Okay. Modern popularity of scrying stems from the likes of John Dee, Nostradamus, and the Renaissance period of England. During this time, magical philosophy was common practice. See? Folklore also had a part to play in keeping it alive. You may recognize scrying from the likes of Snow White, Harry Potter, Wizard of Oz, Game of Thrones, Charmed, Supernatural, Lord of the Rings, and urban legends like Bloody Mary. The list goes on and on. Suffice to say that ancient art of scrying is still very much celebrated as a part of modern culture. That is true. You can see any magician show. So, like the show The Magicians that was on Sci-Fi, they did a couple of scrying things. It's in Supernatural. Like it is part of the zeitgeist.
Some magic bleeds through. Like we still
Absolutely.
have access to it, and I think to an extent, what Alex said is right. When it comes to like scrying, is that we are probably all connected in ways that we don't fully understand because we're withheld within this mortal plane with this mortal intelligence. You know?
Yeah. And
Yeah, and mortal perceptions, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's one of the things. I am not the most spiritual person in the world, but I do believe that because we're limited by the five senses, it becomes hard. Like, I don't know how to explain this.
I know what you're saying.
We're
honestly.
limited by the five physical senses, right?
Yeah.
But I do believe that as human beings, we're able to kind of put things together. Like we're able to synthesize those 5 senses into possibly more senses that we're even conscious of. And I think scrying is one of those ways that we kind of tap into those extraordinary senses that are actually human senses. We just don't consciously think of them as that.
If you think about it a little bit, you come at it from a different point of view too. Like Bloody Mary, for example, it's in a dark room. I never got to the point of saying it the third time because I was usually with someone I wanted to, make out with.
Bloody Mary.
Well, if she showed up, I would have done it with her, but she never showed up. But anyway,
Technically, I'm in a mirror right now. Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
Bloody
You know,
Mary.
in a dark room with the mirror, it's sensory
Bloody Mary.
deprivation.
We
it's
need
sensory
another special guest, but go on.
Yes, he's dead now. It's a lot of this seems to me like a little bit of like sensory deprivation. So if like even like meditation, you're blocking a lot of things out. And if you just stare, like I've seen scrying done on Ghost Adventures, but it's interesting the way they do it. Like, I think one of the guys basically he was looking into a mirror that belonged to Bela Lugosi, and it's supposed to be cursed. And he's doing some scrying, and he basically sits there silently in a dark room looking at this mirror for like 30 minutes, and then he passes the fuck out. I think he passed out because he wasn't standing correctly. He obviously wasn't in the military. You got to bend your knees, and you'll pass out if you don't do that. But the idea of it is I think solid. Like you're in a dark room with a really creepy ass mirror, and you're just looking at it. You can kind of see yourself, but maybe not, and you just kind of your other senses do combine to like a sixth sense that can potentially tap into this to a larger knowledge base than your
Well,
A
brain.
larger network, essentially.
One of the things we're going to talk about is like the esoteric versions of dreams. And one of the prevailing theories in them is that when we go to sleep, our astral body leaves, like our consciousness leaves, and it goes up to the astral plane, the higher consciousness, and it will relay messages. Like, hey, stop eating goddamn Taco Bell all the day, or you're going to fucking die. And you come back, and since we're still basically confined within our perception of reality within this third dimensional plane, all we can interpret it is that us having a dream about eating Taco Bell and throwing it up, because we can't get the message clearly across, but we can get the basics of it.
Yeah.
This has been a PSA by Crook and Murder. Please do not go and eat any Taco Bell. Do not support them. Do not give them any money. And if you do, please light yourself on fire inside of the Taco Bell.
I would kill for a cheesy gordita crunch right now.
You know what?
God.
Make your own. That's the anarchist way.
Yeah, but then it turns out shittier. I don't.
I mean, it could turn out good. I made these
You
burrito
gotta
tacos.
practice.
Were
You gotta
amazing.
practice, bro.
Oh man, I want to make those again. They had melted cheese on them. You dipped them into birria sauce. Oh, it's good. Okay, we're gonna talk about some tools, guys. And not this type of tool. Although I could scry with this if I, made my own third eye. I'm still keen on that.
I don't know. The metal seems pretty reflective. You could probably use.
You could technically turn out all the lights and scry on that.
Yeah, that would be. I think it would return a really weird vision.
It's just you axing yourself in the head.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden I do it myself.
Yeah.
Whoops.
And then your reflection would look at you and be like, "Let me ask you a question."
That was the.
So corny.
I can't even. I quit. I'm done. Okay. The various instruments used in scrying vary. Different cultures would use different tools. However, they are almost always refractive, translucent, or luminescent surfaces, such as crystals, glass, and stones. They're typically formed from some type of shape, like crystal balls or mirrors. Reflective black surfaces are also commonly used, like obsidian and water. However, there is no official guidebook, so some seers have been known to use elements that constantly shift, like fire, smoke, clouds, shadows, light patterns, shimmering mirages, and glowing coals. And finally, some just prefer a blank slate, such as clear skies, pitch black darkness, or the inside of their eyelids. Basically, anything that is fluid or distorts the image.
You know, I heard this really, really good electricity joke the other,
Mm,
I want to hear it.
but I forwat it.
Oh my god, jeez. Woo! Woo!
I
That in, guys. I'm not cutting that, and I hope someone mails us about how awesome of a joke that was.
crookirish.studios@gmail.com. Let me know if my jokes are phenomenal. I'll go on tour for you. You know,
Okay, Dane Cook.
Dane Cook, the karate of comedians. Okay, I actually had something for this. Shit, I forgot.
Okay, was it about tools?
Oh no, it's okay. The inside of their eyelids, right? So there was this guy. I don't know if I've told the story on the podcast yet, but tell me if you have heard it. But this guy essentially went into like a waking coma for roughly 10 years. Like he got stuck
What?
in there, and all he could do is sit there and watch the ceiling.
Oh,
And
I see.
yeah,
He was. He was. I thought waking coma. I was kind of thinking he was in like a fugue state, just walking around. But no, he was in. He was in the hospital,
yeah,
conscious, but just couldn't do anything.
he just couldn't do anything, and he just stared at the ceiling for like 10 straight years. And when he finally came out of it, uh, he got to tell everybody like what had happened, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! You've been awake pretty much this entire time?" He's like, "Yeah."
Jesus Christ.
And you couldn't give us any signals? And he's like, "No." So like, what was it like?
dude.
They asked him. They were like, "What was it like?" And he's like, "Well, the first like 3 or 4 years was just pure and utter hell."
Yeah,
Because I knew every
seriously.
day was just staring at the ceiling, and every waking moment just staring at the ceiling. He's
It's
like,
like a prison.
but about the fourth year, I reached this level of just complete enlightenment
Whoa.
because all I had was myself and my brain, and so I came to terms with it, and like afterward, he was just the fucking chillest person ever.
So just for me to understand this perfectly, he would stare at the ceiling constantly, but could like hear people talking, hear people moving. He could like if someone waved their hand, he would recognize the hand and know someone was there, but couldn't talk, couldn't do anything but stare at the ceiling.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the story again, but yeah.
Kind of sounds like he was aware of the shit that was going around him, but like couldn't do anything, or maybe the only sense he had was sight. Who knows? But I
That
could.
sounds awful.
It sounds like hell, but I could see. So 10 years, I could see the first 3 years just being like every day, like I want to die and I can't make it happen,
But the best
and then
thing about humans, and and I say this even during this tumultuous times, even during this time where every single one of us want to kill each other, is the best thing that we have going for us as a species is our adaptability to any situation.
it's 100% true.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
he adapted and overcame.
Yep.
And when he came
About
out the
accepting the situation and moving beyond it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. I mean, we honestly we do that in recovery like all the time. Like we we I wouldn't say we adapt necessarily because personally, like when I think of adapting as a human, I think of like how quick it happened that uh, my junkie lifestyle became normal. It was like a month and everything was normal. But like we in recovery, kind of like you have to accept things that are out of your control and be okay with that. And it can be easy in some instances, but hard in a lot of instances.
The best thing about like the program in that sense is that
Yeah.
just that complete and utter acceptance that we have no control over anything. I
Yes.
argued this
It's
with my sponsor
beautiful.
when I was first in, and he was like, "No, you have no control over anything." I'm like, "That's bullshit. I have a control to leave this parking lot." And he's like, "What if your car gets T-boned?" I'm like, "I have control to turn on my car." He's like, "What if it doesn't start?" And I'm like, "I have the control over this pencil." He's like, "What if the pencil breaks?" And I'm like, "I have no control."
I know your first sponsor, and I can picture him saying all that. But this, I mean, it just to kind of put a cap on it. Like this is like so the problem a lot of people have with 12-step recovery is they believe that it's a religious program because we mention God a lot. But in the literature, we actually say that like we are not a religious program that says nothing to do with Christianity, Judaism, or what have you. It the term God is a higher power of our understanding or our choosing, really. And
Well, and that's the issue of like the history of AA, isn't it? Because didn't it come out of a religiosity?
No, they
it came
tried
out of
to.
yeah. Okay, so it came out of a thing called the Oxford Group, which was a back to basics Jesus thing. But the only reason that it came out of that was because they had a 6-step program that seemed to work for alcoholics. So the guys who kind of came up with Alcoholics Anonymous were like took that idea of steps and reconfigured them. The two guys that came up with AA were vastly different. Bill W was from New York, and he was like not super religious, almost agnostic at some point, just very spiritual. And then Dr. Bob uh, was a devout like Calvinist and was super religious.
Now
So
I'm gonna
those are
go
the two
ahead
guys.
and put a stop to this.
Okay.
Because if we go much further, we start advocating for the program, which kind of
No,
goes
I was actually
100% against it.
I actually am gonna cut this because I did say Alcoholics Anonymous, but
Yeah, it's best if we just move past.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, it was never religious. Let's just put it that way. Okay, let's talk about doing things in a real manly way. How to scry like a man. Woo! Was that about
That was
what you
pretty
wanted?
good, yeah.
That
Okay.
was pretty pro-ish. You did a good job.
So okay, different cultures had different methods of scrying. Let's explore a couple of them. Crystalmancy. The art of gazing into a crystal ball is probably one of the most well known. Once you decide on a crystal ball, choose a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Turn off the lights and place some lit candles behind you. Take a deep breath and clear your mind. Stare intently into the ball and imagine your third eye is projecting a beam into it. As you gaze into the crystal ball, the clouds will slowly develop and then clear.
And by third
After
eye, we mean butthole.
yes, the
I
brown eye.
I think everybody really understood that from the first time you said it at the intro, but
Absolutely. You know,
okay.
yeah. After
Our
which,
audience is not Marvel audience, okay?
they're smart,
They're smarter than that. All 12 people that listen to this.
and we appreciate all 12 of them.
Hey, we will continue doing this so long as the 12 of you show up. The five of you show up.
Honestly, I keep doing it until you two are like, nah, I don't want to do it anymore.
Pretty much.
Hey, I
I don't
kind of
even
enjoy
care if
this.
anybody's listening.
Yeah,
To be honest,
All
it's a lot of fun.
yeah, absolutely. I'm having a great time. Okay, so after which, when you're staring into your,
You sounded like fucking Egon there. I am terrified beyond the capacity for rational thought, Ray.
well, I think I might be the Egon of the group, unfortunately, or fortunately. After which, a string of images will be displayed in your crystal ball, which till the watch till the end. I'm sorry, watch till the end through, as only the sequence will give you a full answer to your question.
So
So you have to
basically,
do all this, yeah.
as you stare into the ball, okay, guys, it's not your butthole. Just stare into the ball of smoke that's kind of billowing about. Your mind will create the images. And in a sense, it could be telling you exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Because in the same sense that like a fucking Ouija board works, we could be projecting our inner thoughts onto this plane and deciphering them via a crystal ball. Whether that be scientific, our fucking subconscious thoughts, or spiritual, our fucking astral thoughts.
That makes sense. I think it's the interesting with the that you have to do all these steps like very strictly, but that
Magic is hard.
Okay, yeah, we definitely have established that. That's a good point. This isn't like at a fucking county fair.
And then we have the Gen Zers over here created Shell Shrine. This
Yeah,
is like
This one, I feel like I'd like to do research on it because I feel like it did come from like an actual like cultural thing. But like you were never a kid and never had like a parent or an uncle or an older cousin say if you listen to a seashell, you can hear
yeah,
voices.
I've heard that.
well,
I hear the
yeah,
ocean. I hear the ocean. I don't know what voices.
but it just seems like lazy ass scrying. It's like instead of
Well,
sitting there and concentrating on a ball, just hold the shell up to your ear and play Diablo.
well, no, okay. I think that might be your problem, right? But it's no, I don't think it's like the lazy band way. It's just a different auditory. I don't want to say hallucination because that kind of diminishes
It's not yet.
what crying is.
Maybe it could
But
be
it's a
like a
different
vision.
sense, right? Right? Like so crystal ball, a lot of these are like visual. This one happens to be auditory.
I will
And
actually
you know,
concede
if
this argument to you because I think you are right.
and if you had a dick in your mouth long enough, it would be the taste scrying aspect of it. It would be the taste sensation. Okay.
Yeah,
Dick
or chocolate
scrying.
bar. Yeah.
Dick scrying, baby.
I got something. I've got something for later that's
You
related
want
to
to
that.
read the future? Just suck on this.
Oh my god.
God.
Alright, sorry.
How did
Ooh,
That was a
how
little
did
too
Alex
bro-ish.
get institutionalized in
I
2023?
apologize.
this is how it happened. Okay, so we're talking about shell scrying, the art of listening to seashells. It's a more modern approach to scrying. Basically, listen to the shell until you are in a trance-like state. You will eventually pick up on fragments of a conversation. At first, it will be sorry. At first, it will only be a few words, but after a while, in a full convo from the future should form.
You can
Whoa.
also produce the same effect by listening to Pink Floyd
Yes.
on LSD.
On LSD, yes. Okay. Uh, Terafumi, the art of smoke scrying. Fuck yeah. First of all, you sit in front of a fire. Duh.
The best part about this one is you get a brisket at the end.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, man. 8 hours of smoke scrying.
Fucking kill two birds with one stone.
Hell yeah.
Do want to point out, Terafumi is technically what the Fire Priest is in Game of Thrones.
I don't remember that, but I'll
She
take
was-
your word for it.
Yeah, she would like stare into the coals,
Oh, okay.
come up with like the answers for whoever the fuck was around.
Cool. Whenever I stare into the coals, I see Sirius Black, but that's just me.
Like, go back to school, Harry Potter.
It's hard. Okay. Rather than following the smoke up, allow it to form patterns in front of your gaze. Eventually, you see visions of future events. Native Americans practice a special form of this called a sweat lodge. I've done one. Water is poured over hot rocks, and people sit around them naked, inhaling the steam. Heightened temperatures, humidity, and carbon dioxide induce visions. This is incredibly dangerous. Do it only with a professional.
Yeah, please don't go do fucking sweat lodges by yourself.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you really need it. I did it with in California with a professional, and or Native American.
I feel like in
And
California, you can't walk 5 feet without running into a professional sweat lodger. Now, whether they're lying or not and just trying to get you naked is a real question.
well, we wore shorts at this one, but he knew what he was doing. Like they in terms of the carbon dioxide, like they vent the smoke a certain way, so like you don't fucking just up and die. But it's interesting. I think actually, like, I didn't even think that sweat lodges were a form of scrying. That's I like that. All right, hydromancy is the art of scrying in water, as we talked a little about. It's one of the more ancient practices, used a lot by the Celts.
I actually
You need
love this one, by the way. And as you read this, picture Galadriel in Lord of the Rings. When she
the
approaches Frodo
Elfwine.
and she's like,
Yes,
you know, the mirror shows you many things, Frodo. The past, the present, and things like to come.
oh right, yeah, totally. Okay, let's dig in. Okay, you need a large, deep bowl made of glass, brass, or silver. This should be placed on a tripod made of laurel boughs for the best results. Fill the bowl with fresh, clean water from the stream. Ah, I'm like, I'm tired. I don't get this. This must be collected at night, preferably on a full moon. This represents the connection between the moon, the goddess, and the water. Grab a branch from a bay, laurel, or hazel tree and use it as a wand. The end should be uh, covered in dry tree sap or resin. Dip the wand into the water until it soaks, until it is soaked. Then wet the borders of the bowl. Gently draw the wand around the bowl, causing it to resonate. The resonations will cause ripples in the water, decipher the message. I do love that. I really love that idea of scrying with the harmonics. That's wicked.
Yeah, and like the ripples in the water. Like, honestly, while I was reading this, I literally pictured Frodo just like looking into the mirror of Erised and her being like seeing the burning of the Shire and like the ransacking of the villages.
Exactly. That's fucking bitching. All right. So then we got capotramancy, the ancient art of scrying via mirrors. Because mirrors are linked to the moon, find a black one backed by silver. The size doesn't matter, honestly, but the shape does. Find a round or oval mirror. If you do not want to see your reflection when scrying, I'm sorry, you do not want to see your reflection when scrying, so leave the mirror on a table and view it from an angle. Stare deeply into the mirror, look into its depths. It may appear gray at first. Eventually, though, colors will start to come and go. With time and practice, images will appear whether in the mirror or outside it. Woo! I like that.
This one seems kind of creepy. I
Yeah,
almost want to try it.
It's a little creepy, and I've heard of a related form of this scrying called meowtromancy, where one uses the art of listening to cats to decipher messages from the afterlife to give you hints towards the future.
Meow mix.
see, I
Meow
think
Meow,
that's pretty sure that's a real thing.
meowtromancy.
You can just stare at a cat's eyes for days.
Yeah, and then you
Or
die and it'll eat you.
Yeah.
that too, because you are just food to them.
Dude, cats are fucking sociopaths, man. Like
They really are.
No, they 100%.
they just 1,000 years ago they were like, look, we got a good thing going. Let's not fuck this up with love. All right. Let's just I help you, you help me, we're good to go.
Exactly.
I'll bring you
Okay.
dead mice if you feed me on occasion.
Yeah, and then I'll completely ignore you if you don't do what I want, asshole.
Honestly, I've always thought of like getting a cat purely to keep mouse like problems under control. I'm like, they are glorified mouse catchers, so long as you get the right one. And all you gotta do is feed them.
That's true. We almost got one at our place, but we didn't end up doing it.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us.
I know. Okay. Dream scrying is a scrying technique used by the Egyptians. On the night you plan to dream scry, don't talk to anyone. Don't consume alcohol. Don't eat, and don't have sex. Lame. Take a long, purifying bath and anoint your temples with olive oil afterwards. Prepare an oil lamp with no inscription on it. It can be any color except red. Red is the color of the evil god Set.
Unless you want to get visited by the evil god Set, I guess. But who the fuck wants that?
Well, yeah, and Set is some inspiration for the devil. Okay, write on a white linen strip with ink mixed with myrrh. The name of your dream, god or goddess, and the purpose of the dream scrying. Twist the strip and put it into the oil lamp. Place said lamp on the table near your bed. Using the ink, draw the image of the god or goddess on your left palm. The god Thoth was commonly used by the Egyptians.
I kind of feel bad for Thoth. I feel like he was just constantly being called. Like, Jesus, give me a day off. Call fucking
Do
Set
we-
every once in a while.
Do either of you know what was the Thoth the god of?
Death?
Let me
Or
look that up.
Underworld?
Oh, so Max, I got the great part.
As I figured.
Thoth. Thoth is an ancient Egyptian deity in art who's often depicted as a man with the head of an ibis or baboon. Animals are sacred to him. So what is he the ancient god of, though?
Interesting.
The moon, sacred text, mathematics, sciences. This is actually really fascinating.
Huh.
Moon, sacred text, mathematics, the sciences, magic, messenger and recorder of the deities, master of knowledge, and patron of scribes.
I bet he got
like it.
pissed. So he was Egyptian Google. It's like
yeah,
That's pretty
that's
much
not. Yeah, that's not. Yeah,
it's like this is listen, before you got super powered computers in your pocket, you had to do all this bullshit to look up information.
This is true. Well, let's get into it then. Okay, so light your lamp and kneel before it, concentrating on the image. Recite this invocation.
Thoth, I invoke, blessed power of dreams divine, angel of future, fates, swift wings are thine, great source of oracles to humankind. When stealing soft and whispering to the mind, through sleep's sweet silence in the gloom of night, thy power awake the sight. To silent souls the will of heaven relates, and silent reveals their future fates.
Whoa, that was intense. All right, so concentrate on
Although
the question.
nowadays Thoth would be replaced by Apple.
Yes,
I
exactly.
don't know. Sounds like you might be Thoth, bud.
Yeah, it's like talking to Siri here.
Yeah, I've just been taking my job lackadaisical for the past 1,000 years.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, it's a dead religion, really. So, okay, so concentrate on the question you wish to know the answer to, and wrap a black linen around your left hand. The cloth is known as the black of Isis. Blow out the lamp and go to sleep. It is believed the answer will come to you in a clear and powerful voice, as opposed to a typical dream imagery.
We're
Interesting.
making the iPad 4.
Yes, that too. Okay, oil scrying is the art of scrying via oil. This technique can be traced back to the Babylonians. The first technique was called the Princess of the Thumb. Oil was anointed on the forehead of the thumbnail. Wait, the forehead of the thumbnail by a scryer.
The forehead
Uh,
and the thumbnail.
And the thumbnail. Sorry, my bad. I'm like really tongue tied for some reason. The shiny thumbnail we used as a makeshift mirror, which would be used to see spirits and forbidden knowledge. The second technique was the princess of the hand. Oil was mixed with black soot and smeared on the hand. The scryer would read the results. The final technique was called the princess of the cup. Sesame oil is used to coat a cup, which is then rested on its side. A candle was then placed near the rim, and from the magnification of the cup came the visions. Oh, that's an interesting one.
That's the original. Like, that is
Yeah.
the oldest form of scrying. That's Babylonian scryings. Like, they had actual professions as scryers that would probably sit in the fucking court and they would suit their hands and read them.
I mean, that's super interesting to me.
I mean, who wouldn't want to know the future, right? Like, what a good. Not to say that they didn't believe what they were doing, right? But if you are smart enough and you are able to kind of deduce things, like what a good marketing.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
for
what?
sure.
I mean,
Like,
100.
oh, I can tell you the future, bro.
I would lie all the time. I'd be like, just after your reign ended, they will build a Chipotle here.
A Chipotle.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
mean, if you said that, you would actually be a future reading scryer. You wouldn't know what Chipotle was back in Babylonian times, and B, I'm sure there's got to be at least fucking one because Babylonian was what Iran,
It's like
Syria.
Iran, Iraq.
Yeah, it's like that type of yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's got to be at least one Chipotle, even if it's on a U.S. Army base. There's got to be at least one Chipotle.
I think there is. I think you might be right there. I had thought of the form of scrying earlier in the episode, and I was waiting till the end to end it right, not the end, but right here. So, what about taking a bowl of water and rubbing one out and getting it in the water, and then just staring at the jizz in the water?
Okay. So on a serious note, because I thought you were gonna say something a little bit more real than that. I mean, that
Max
would
is like,
work. Don't get me
that's real
wrong.
to me. All right, I jizz
That
in
would
bowls of
work.
water
That would
all the
work.
time.
But just as honorable mentions, I would like to say the classic, like as like kids do, reading the lines on a palm, right?
Oh yeah.
That's a form of scrying. Also, a little surprised. I don't know if this didn't come up in your research, but tea leaves, right? That's for
Oh, yeah.
Tea leaves. We're reading tea leaves. That's
I
right.
mean,
reading
if
tea leaves.
the reason why
Or
we're
the
not
sticks when they drop the sticks and you read how the sticks are done.
the
Viking runes,
reason
too.
why those forms didn't show up is exactly because you just listed 3 different forms. There
Yeah.
are thousands of ways to
Yeah,
scry.
no. Which is fair. I just figured honorable mention because like tea reading is very common as a trope
Yeah.
It is.
in
Yeah.
Hollywood when it comes to the depiction of like Asian cultures. So that's just one that I think people would recognize very quickly.
Yeah,
Every
definitely.
culture has its like almost own form of scrying plus some. You know, it's like
So
it's
as a
insane.
fun thought experiment, just I kind of want your guys' opinion on this. So because you did bring up a good point, right? Each culture kind of really has its own form of scrying. What do you think America's form of scrying is? Like as American culture and as Americans, what do you
I got this. I got this. After credits at an MCU movie. You're like, oh shit, Spider-Man's in the next one? I'm in.
Oh, Nick Fury's gonna do what? Oh, I gotta watch this.
They're forming the Avengers? Fuck yeah.
Oh,
man.
that's about right. That's exactly right. Jesus. Okay, let's wrap this up, guys. Okay. These methods eventually transferred to the Egyptians. However, it is effective. However, to effectively use their oil scrying, you must mix the correct water in and invoke one of the one of their gods 7 times. Sorry, one of their gods 7 times. Rainwater is used for the heavenly gods. Seawater is used for the terrestrial gods.
That's seawater. I mean,
Didn't I say?
He said
it did, but
seawater.
you cut out, so I just wanted
Oh, sorry.
to
Oh,
clarify it.
Yeah, seawater is used for the terrestrial gods. River water is used for Osiris or Serapis. Finally, and this is a weird one, guys. We talked about this. Persia used the cup of Jamshid.
It's
Called
actually pronounced jammy jam.
it's pronounced jammy jam. The cup of
Is that
jammy
really
jam.
how you say it?
I don't
No,
know. It looks like that. Jam.
I'll go with jammy jam instead of
Jami
Jamshid.
Jam?
Jamshid. Yeah.
I got my
Jamshed?
jammy
Jamshed?
jams, and I'm
So
jamming.
here's what we know about this thing. It was used by the ancient kings to observe the 7 layers of the universe. The cup was also said to contain an elixir of immortality.
This should have been Indiana Jones 4.
Absolutely.
Did you guys see the fourth Indiana Jones?
Or the 5th one?
The 5th
Or
one?
the fifth one? The fifth one?
I did.
I haven't yet.
I liked it.
You did like it.
Did you hate it?
Okay.
I hear
No,
people
I haven't seen it.
say it's good.
I've been really weary of it. And I was gonna go see it in theaters, but now that Oppenheimer is out, I'm probably gonna go see Oppenheimer.
Here's my new take on movies nowadays, right? Like
Oppenheimer, however you say his name.
I used to
Yeah, it's
be
Oppenheimer, right?
swayed by public like opinion one way or another. And to an extent I'll look it up to see whether like it's worth spending the hour and a half. But there's always so many fucking negative people out there. And like
My-
Yeah.
I experienced this firsthand in the Diablo Reddit boards where they gave them what they wanted and they were still bitching. It's like,
That's Reddit.
yeah, but this is everywhere. This is Star
Oh
Wars,
yeah, for sure.
the fucking Rise of fucking Rey or whatever. You know, it's Indiana Jones 5. It's fucking Fast and Furious. It's like you ask for these things, you get them. Some of them turn out to be decent movies, but the rapid fan bases tear them apart because it isn't to an extent exactly what they want.
So all right. So when it comes to Star Wars, I would agree that the backlash was a little bit overblown. But like those 3 movies, objectively speaking, are bad movies.
Well, yeah, they absolutely are.
Like story arc wise, character arc wise, like they are badly structured movies.
No,
There's also
so
huge
I don't-
continuity issues.
I'm
with
not-
those 3.
I'm not by any means defending the Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker. I am at the end of the day an OG nerd, as in or an OT nerd, as in the original trilogy. You know, give me old school Han Solo, Luke, and Leia. But
That's why the other movies were better. Solo and
I
Rogue
will
One.
I will say the sequels
I
made the
don't know,
frick.
Solo was pretty bad.
Solo was great.
Yeah,
I did not
we
like
saw it-
Solo.
Kirby and I saw it in the theater. We thought it was like perfectly like swashbuckling Solo. It was good.
Nah, I did not like
All right,
Solo's
we'll
movie.
do an episode on Solo. So before we really get into this, the point I'm trying to make is Star Wars at the end of the day is a bunch of wizards hitting each other with glow sticks.
Yeah.
Fucking Indiana Jones at the end of the day is an adventurer seeking a relic. It's
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
I don't go to this expecting Casablanca or like Citizen Kane. I go there to tune out for 2 hours, and if I look at it that way, as opposed to what the fans tell me to look at it like, I actually tend to enjoy
So-
the film.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So I actually agree wholeheartedly with that because you did make
Yeah,
a
ditto.
statement. You did make a statement before this about wasting an hour and a half of time, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
My my major reason of being wary about watching films in theater and like really trying to pick which ones I watch in theater is not about time because I love bad movies. I am very famous in my group friends to like liking every single movie, even if it's like just fucking horrible. But it's the money, right? It's like getting
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
popcorn. So I get weary about that. Um, not so much the time or the movie because I will watch everything and I will
For sure.
maybe not thoroughly enjoy it, but I will enjoy my time with a bad movie.
Here's
Like
my quick take in a positive light on what Indiana Jones. He plays an older Indiana. He doesn't play 1 in 5, where they make him a joke for his age, but instead he actually plays his age. Where it's just like, I don't want to be here,
Finally.
but I'm kind of stuck here because you're my goddaughter, and I gotta save the world again. You know, he feels like he's a relic out of time, and kind of
yeah, I
like
like that. Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
like how they did Dr. Grant in Jurassic Park, the new one, where he went to the
That was
desert to
great.
die.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
when I looked at it that way, I went, oh yeah, I can 100% agree with this dude. I see him. He grew old with me, and now he's dying, and he wants to. That's how he wants to end the film. You know?
Yeah. The one thing I will say is the reason I asked both of you is because I have very purposely shied away from any type of like I don't even know what the plot is. I've purposely stayed away from any reviews. So like I haven't heard anything positive or really negative about it at all. So I was just kind of curious what you guys thought. But
I
Think
go by
Max,
what
Logan.
some of my
you
friends
you
say, not
you ready
not
for
the
bed
internet.
there, bud?
Yeah, I'm actually like really tired right now. It
Yeah.
just hit me.
Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Uh, we're gonna do a new thing this week, and from this week on, where we're gonna give our episodes a ghost rating and explain why. I'm gonna give this episode 2 ghosts. It wasn't that scary. It was fascinating though.
Out of what? 2 out of what?
2 out of 5.
Okay.
I'll give it 2.5 because I do like scrying, and I think that there is something to it for sure.
I will give it 1.5 ghosts because I'm always gonna have to be the lowest of the three.
There is only one episode that we have done so far that I will give 5 ghosts to, and I'm not gonna say it in the podcast.
I don't know which one, but I'm not going to say it either.
I don't know which one, so this is fascinating for me on my end.
It starts with a W.
No, I know.
Are you fucking? You're giving it away.
Okay, shit.
There's only
Sorry.
one episode that starts with a W
Okay,
before this part.
I'll cut that out.
Well, all right, there we go. Secret's out. Hopefully nobody watches this. All 5 of you just stopped listening like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, there you go.
We're gonna do our shout outs. That's John Zara, for his Old Lang Syne, and is allowing us to use that. He has a YouTube webpage that is JOHNZARRA. Please go there and hit that subscribe button. And I think that's all I got for shout outs this week. You guys got anything?
No, I'm good. I think yeah, that's it.
I got one shout out, and that's to all the people out there.
Wow.
Shout out.
Wow, way to just fall squarely in the middle there, Alex.
What I would like to say, even though we don't have a lot of listeners, is whoever is listening, you're special, you're unique, you are who you are, you're living a good life, and I hope everything goes well for you.
We actually,
I
yeah.
like that sentiment.
Thank you for listening to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll continue bringing this for you.
And we promise you that we are going to get better with practice, with our form, structure, conciseness.
I can promise you that by the
I kind of hope we don't because I really love how fucking chaotic this podcast is.
Yeah, me too.
I can promise you that by the end of this year, we will get up to 3 ghosts.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll remember not to take my Seroquel right before the episode because it's making me really drowsy.
You just take it in the middle of it. Fuck it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
All right, guys. I'm Kenny Crook Irish Kirby. Keep it weird out there.
I am Maxwell Murder, and I'm gonna put a third eye in the front of my head with a hatchet.
I'm special guest Alex, and like I said, you're all wonderful. Just remember you're wonderful.
Oh, and Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we got the Stone Gauntlet coming right to you. Catch us live. We'll be discussing Diablo, its patches, the Steam Deck, Star Trek, and a special place from Alan, because we are invading the Stone Gauntlet as Crook and Murder.
Fuck yeah, we're all gonna be there.
Me too, by the way, just everybody.
Yeah.
And special guest Alex.
Yeah, Alex will be special guesting on it. Don't worry.
I'm pretty sure he's still going to be a special guest.
I'm pretty sure.
But Max, you can be permanent co-host.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
right.
hope for the promotion, but that's okay. I understand. There's only so much room within the company to promote, so I get it.
Yeah.
Look, we can't make everybody permanent co-host of the Stone Gauntlet.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Hey, Dad, did you want to be permanent co-host of the Stone Gauntlet too? Okay, I got you.
Nice. All right, guys, I gotta sign off because I think I gotta get ready for bed.
Okay.
All right, guys. Peace.
All right, later, bros.
Good
See
night.
you Sunday.
See you Sunday.